Alright, what's going on, guys? JJ Wilson is here, and for this review, I'm going to touch on the Tokyo Revengers Season 1. Pretty sure there'll be a Season 2, given the last episode that I watched, episode 24, which was rather crazy. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure a lot of people have watched it. I think in the beginning it got quite a bit of hype, and then I didn't really hear much about it anymore, at least up until the season's end. So this anime, because of how popular it is probably going to be a potential anime of the year. Don't know if it'll be one by popular consensus, but it is going to be up there. And yeah, for the most part, the story is really good. I'm not even going to front. It's a very interesting tale regarding this young guy named Hanagaki Takamichi, the protagonist. And just a brief rundown for those that don't know. Basically, it's kind of like a going back in time type of show, this anime. And the way this guy does it is in the present, like going into 2017. So the story is set in 2017 at first. And Hanagaki Takamichi, he gets saved from getting killed by some dude. Pushed him off, and it turns out it was one of his best friends. I'm not going to go too hard in the story. So he got pushed in the train tracks, and he almost gets run over by the train, but he's saved by Naoto Tachibana. And he is the younger brother of the girlfriend of Takamichi. I believe her name is Hinata. So Naoto tells Takamichi that he has the power to, I guess, go back in time. So he kind of figured out that, in order to save his sister, he can go back to the past. Not him per se, but like Takamichi is capable of going back to the past, and he was the link to do that, to change the future. And so all they have to do is like shake hands. So it's very weird. They haven't really broken down, the show hasn't really broken down exactly how the process works. So you just kind of know, like, oh, okay, the only way that Takamichi is able to go back in time is he has to do a handshake with Naoto. And that's how he's able to go back 12 years into the time, which is 2005. So it's like the early 2000s, and Takamichi is like 16 years old or whatever. No, he's 15, excuse me. He's 15, and Naoto is like 12. So he's like a preteen. And Hinata is also 15. And so you go through all through the past of Takamichi as a teenager, and he's pretty much reliving his experiences in high school. You get the idea, already in the first episode, that he was just kind of an average dude living in a crammed apartment in Tokyo. He was just kind of living a regular life, low paying job per se as a store clerk. And then he's going back in high school. Now he's reliving all his past experience as a picked on kid, because he's living around gangs and yakuza and stuff, and it's rough for this dude, man. It's like every episode this guy takes an L some kind of way, whether he gets beat up, whether he gets disrespected, somebody stole his money, or he said something he shouldn't have said. It's just it's like every episode he takes an L, but because he's already relived through those experiences, and the fact that Naoto wants him to save Hinata's life, he's like, you know what, I gotta change this. And so little by little he does something different in the past, and because of his decision making, for better and for worse, it changes the course of history. And so he sees this, and once something gets accomplished, and the past plays out differently than how it was before, he's able to go back and meet Naoto at Hinata's apartment, shakes his hand, and he goes back to the present, which is 2017. So that's the rundown for that show for at least most of the episodes. And a couple of characters that he meets besides the other two that I was talking about, like the guys under the gang that he eventually joins, which is the Tomon gang, also known as the Tokyo Manji gang. And their leader is Mikey. He's like a short dude. He doesn't seem like much, but this guy, he's got some superpowers or something, man. Despite his frame, he can beat some ass, or he can whoop some tail. Seriously, especially with his feet. Like, he's a really, really good kicker. So he can stomp dudes in the head. He can kick them upside the head. And those guys are down for the count. Dudes is like Whoa. So that's how he garnered so much respect from a lot of different guys. You know, there's several divisions within Tomon. I think it's like maybe 7 divisions overall, and I can't exactly remember which captain is which, and so to speak. But he has a vice commander by the name of Draken, and he's very instrumental because it turns out in the beginning he actually died during the 12 years that Tomon was expanding as a gang or Yakuza gang. So he was already dead. But there was an event where Takamichi was able to help save his life, per se. You know, he was able to go to the hospital and get treated and stuff. So on one timeline, Draken is dead. The other timeline, he actually survives and stuff like that. And yeah, Draken, he has a very interesting life because he grew up in a brothel of all things, and he didn't really have parents. But he's like this really tall guy, and he's tough to beat. He can really fight. He has a way with words. A lot of people respect him. You know, so he's got the dragon tattoo across his head, the side of his head. So he's a very memorable character. And I'm pretty sure he has a big fan base because of that. And the antagonist, let me touch on him for a second. Kisaki Teta. Doesn't look like much to me. I mean, I wouldn't think this dude was like a manipulative, diabolical guy, but he is. You know, and it's because of his presence is why Tomon changed the way it was, from being, you know, a fairly level-headed gang to like this major Yakuza network within Tokyo. And man, these guys moved up, man. Like, they're making money. They're part of major businesses. And Kisaki's behind all that. You know, and he does a lot of shady crimes as well as time passes on. And you get to find out why. So, especially by the last episode, you know, because he's trying to figure out who's the mole within the group that was telling him to, that was kind of messing up his business. And he was trying to figure out who's doing that mess. And he finds out the guy that does it. So I'm not going to say what happens, but you got to watch that for sure, because it's crazy. Because I think the next arc is going to be wild. It's going to be a big game changer, you know, all because of Takamichi's presence and his decision making to change the future. And the other guy that made a big impression on me in this arc, or this particular season 1, was Baji. And Baji, he was the captain of the first division, and he was like one of Mikey's oldest friends. And he was the reason why he briefly defected from Tomon, although he didn't really defect. He just wanted to join that other gang called Valhalla just to find out what was going on with Kisaki and why he joined the gang in the first place. And he overheard everything of what Kisaki's plans were. And because of that, that's why he decided to join that other gang to eventually stop Kisaki from taking it over. So he's like the only other person to find out what was really going on. So Mikey doesn't really know. And I think this is like the one flaw that Mikey has. He's not that perceptive. He just kind of take things at face value a little bit too much. You know, if he was a little bit more analytical and he could like foresee things better, he could probably detect the bitch assery of Kisaki, if you will, and his ambitions of power. And I think he would be able to stop Kisaki from infiltrating his gang, I think. But Baji was able to see that. And unfortunately, he doesn't live, so that's a little spoiler alert. Which is unfortunate, man, because he seemed like he was one of the more well-rounded characters in the show, you know. But yeah, it's very unfortunate that he had passed away. So that's a small spoiler. I'm not gonna say how he dies, but you'll have to watch the show to find out. So overall, it's a very compelling tale. It's got some elements, a little bit of I should say Steins Gate, because of the whole time travel thing a little bit. Although it's not as violent, obviously. You know, but people do die. And what other show could I compare it to off the top of my head? I mean, since it's high school related, I mean, it's probably related to another popular high school anime. It'll come to me. I'm pretty sure you guys have other comparisons too. But yeah, those are my brief thoughts about Tokyo Revengers Season 1. It's not a bad show. It'll definitely be an Anime of the Year contender. For sure, because of the characters that it has. But yeah, the protagonist, I mean, he's a good dude, but man, he takes a lot of L's at times. Too many. Just to try to change the future, man. You know, if he was a little bit more tougher and he could really fight, I mean, I think he would be a lot more likable. But like the side characters, they just come across as more well-rounded than he does. Even though some of them they can't really see what's going on in the future, unlike Takamichi. And and yeah, the villain. I mean, like I say, he doesn't look like much, but man, he is really really scary. What he's capable of and things like that. So yeah, those are my overall thoughts. If you have anything else you want to input about the show or whatever, just let me know, and I'll look at it as best I can. But anyway, that's it from here, and I'm out.